This is a pretty interesting movie and not at all what I expected. Not that I really knew what to expect anyway, but this wasn't it. But it starts off pretty slow and I honestly wasn't that engaged with it at first. And it's essentially a story about a young woman in film school. And she's setting out on a journey to make her first feature-length film. But that's just sort of something that's going on in the background. It's not really that important and it's not really what drives the primary story. Because the primary story here is absolutely the relationship she has with this perhaps slightly older man. That's what the movie is actually about. At its core, it's really a love story and a relationship drama. And you know what? That relationship and the dynamic between the two of them is really what makes this movie what it is. It makes it gripping and compelling. On a deeply emotional level, because it gets kinda real a few times. And you know what? This thing feels a little bit too authentic sometimes. I could literally feel the unspoken tension and the friction between the two of them. And certain scenes are just way too realistic. It feels like I was in the room with them. Like they're a real couple having a real argument about real things. I mean, you've probably been there. You've probably seen real couples argue. It feels very uncomfortable to be there, and that's kind of what this movie felt like to me. Like I'm following actual people going through some actual struggles and dealing with actual issues. And I really sympathized with the main character, but at the same time I didn't really understand her. Because the guy she's seeing, well, he's a bit troubled, I would say. He puts up a clean front and likes to pretend everything's okay, but it's not. And not only that, but I wouldn't call him a very likable or charming personality either. He comes across as a little arrogant and aloof, like he doesn't really care. He usually doesn't show a lot of emotion either, and yeah, I found him very hard to like. Which just meant that I didn't really get what the main character really saw in him. And I kinda wished she'd just come to her senses and get out of the relationship. But at the same time it got me really invested and made me want to see where the story would go. So kudos for getting me that involved in a fictitious relationship between two made up people. And I guess a lot of the credit goes to the actors here too, because they made me believe in the characters. They completely sold me on them. And the main character is actually played by Honor Swinton Byrne, who hasn't done a ton of movies before, but she's actually the daughter of Tilda Swinton, who also has a small role in this as her mother, so that was kinda interesting. But yeah, I thought Honor did a great job in this, as did Tom Burke, who plays the love interest. Now when I looked up this movie on IMDb, I noticed something kinda odd. These two are nowhere near the top billing of this movie. Tom Burke is like 8 on the list or something. Which is kinda strange since these two are literally the movie. Meanwhile, Neil Young and 2 other people get top billing. 3 people who are barely in the movie at all, and aren't big name draws or anything either. Like what? How does that make any sense whatsoever? I mean, I don't know, does it even matter? I guess not, but I just thought that was very strange. Why not just put the names of the actual main actors up there, so that I know who's gonna actually be in the movie, and not who's gonna play some irrelevant side characters. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but I feel like actors should be credited properly. Especially if they're the leads and do a fantastic job carrying a movie. I shouldn't have to go digging to find their actual names, that's ridiculous. But yeah, the acting in this is great, as is the writing, and nothing wrong with the general filmmaking either. I think Joanna Hogg did a very good job with this one, and apparently she's working on a part 2 as well. And you know what? While this one did actually wrap up this part of the story, I'm kinda curious to see where she takes it from here. I wanna see a follow-up. Not that it needs one, but I think there's probably more to this story. But yeah, would I recommend this? If you like slow relationship dramas, definitely. If not, this is probably gonna be a slog to sit through. So you know, maybe give it a look. Or don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a thumbs up or maybe subbing to the channel. That would be fantastic. I also have a Patreon in case you want to support what I do here. Or you can donate directly to my PayPal account through the link in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.